partners once again. A little business between friends, and always just a step ahead of the law. Always just a step ahead of the law.
This guy I know, Tony, he's an Asian guy. So his wife, she has an in-law who is an ex-cop who is willing to do a trip to drive this weed to somebody that I know in Illinois. Vinny, right? So Tony and Vinny. So these two guys come up with their way of doing this transport. I didn't have anything to do with it. So they go to Hertz rental cars and they get 2 cars, and they both have California plates. They're both white cars, and they have a similar make and model. They came out of the same Hertz rental place. The reason why we got the 2 cars was because you can't fit 90 pounds in the trunk of a car and then also have 3 people in a car, and it's not going to be awkward because the pounds are going to be in the back, and then everybody's clothes and all the things that they brought on the trip are going to be in the front of the car. We go out to Washington to try to switch up these cars so we can get cars with out-of-state plates to go halfway across the country with. Well, they turn these cars into the Hertz rental car. The Hertz rental car doesn't have any other cars to rent them, so the Hertz rental car re-rents them the same cars. So we went out of our way from how the trip would have gone out to Spokane, Washington. Ended up on the road the next day in these white cars. Well, what happened with me, being an idiot, I left my wallet at the hotel that we stayed at in Washington. I called the hotel and they were going to send it to me. So, boom, I got my wallet taken care of and it's being sent to me, but that doesn't help me on this trip. I don't have a fucking wallet and I'm going all the way out to near Chicago. These guys, when they pull into gas stations, they're pulling in together. You don't want to pull into the same gas station when you have the same rental cars. One of the cars is packed full of weed, and you're 2 Asian guys out in the middle of rural fucking America. And plus 2 Asian guys and a white guy. It just didn't look like I was a younger kid at that time. And these are 2 middle-aged Asian guys. It's just sort of an odd look. We're driving through like Wyoming, Montana, and we get to South Dakota. Before we had gotten there, like I said, we kept pulling into these gas stations. And sometimes it was like there was a cop parked at one of the gas stations. We pull in there and I'm just like, dude, you're gonna have to just give your in-law some money and he can go get gas somewhere else and we can talk over the phone, and every time we go into a town, he goes to the other gas station. We don't go to the same gas station. This is very bad. Do you realize that? Like, it just doesn't look good. He just like doesn't want to do that. The in-law is driving slow the whole time. This guy's an ex-cop. He should know to drive with the speed of traffic. But he's scared with the burden of the weed that's in the back of the car. And he has all of his suitcases and everything in the front of the car, in the back seat. We drive through Rapid City, South Dakota. We pull into this gas station and he's like 15 minutes behind us though. So we're gassed up and then he pulls in and then the guy has to go back in and pay for this other guy. And I'm like sweating, you know, like the whole thing just feels really badly put together. I tell him, look, when I look in my rearview mirror, I want to see you in the rearview mirror. We're going the speed limit. We're ahead of you. There's no reason why you should be way back behind us. So he doesn't listen to me. And we're driving and suddenly he disappears because he's going so slow. And the speed of traffic on those freeways there, it's like 75 miles an hour. And this guy's going 50 miles an hour. And he gets pulled over by a cop. And I didn't know it, but the name is like Smith. Just a week before, another person that had a similar name with the same last name had gotten pulled over driving down a U-Haul that had a mattress that was stuffed full of pounds. And so these cops were looking for Asian drivers that had the California license plates, that probably rented cars or had U-Hauls. They're like that's like an APB, they're on the hunt. And so this guy, I call him up. I don't see him behind in the rearview mirror, and I call him up to see what the fuck happened to him. I call him up and he's like, I can't talk now, I got pulled over. And so I'm trying to tell this other bozo that I'm with that we need to get the fuck out of South Dakota. There's no delivery is going to happen. This guy got hemmed up. The whole trip is over. We need to hightail it the fuck out of there. And this guy, he is the optimist. He's like, no, my in-law, he used to be a cop. He'll be able to talk his way out of it. And I'm like, look, buddy, he's not talking his way out of anything. The guy's going to jail. We're in jeopardy because you rented both of these cars together. We're sitting here in this state right now. It's only gonna take a matter of time before they're gonna find us also. And we need to get out of here. And so we go to this Denny's and the guy's all disheveled and stuff, and I'm like trying to just reason with him. He's like drinking a glass of coffee and trying to order food, but then not even eating it, and just like, and I'm like, look, man, no matter what we do from here, like we can sit around here and get in trouble, or we can just get out of here. By staying here, we're not gaining anything. Your in-law is going to be in jail. We're not getting out of it, and let's go. And so, and he he wanted to hang on. He just had this no way I'd lost this amount of money. No, I didn't lose. And I'm like, bro, you not only did you lose, we're in jeopardy and we need to go. So we left and we drove through Wyoming. There's cops everywhere in Wyoming. I don't know how we made it through there. We get to Colorado. And he's like, what am I going to do with a rental car? Dude, get a flight out of here and leave the rental car at the airport with the keys in it and call the budget rental car and just tell them that you had to leave. Tell them you'll pay for, whatever the damages is or whatever. Just leave the keys in it and get the fuck out of here. And he did. I just happened to have a buddy there in Colorado who owed me $5,000. I picked up the $5,000 from him. I'm stuck in Colorado and I have to figure a way out. So I go onto Craigslist and I'm scrolling through Craigslist and I find somebody who's got a ride share and she's going to California. And it's this substitute teacher, like a high school substitute teacher. And she has a pet parrot. And there's 2 other people that are doing the ride share with us in the beginning. And so I've got my backpack, I've got the $5,000 in it. I have no ID. I have this shaky story about how I'm getting home and why I have to get home and what happened and everything with my ID. It works, I I gave this lady a little bit of money. We were switching driving, and we drove through Utah. We get through all the scary states, Nevada. Finally, get back to Redding, and I had to find a ride from there. But when she was dropping me off, I was like, "Fuck, man! I bet you if I just offered her enough money, she would take me down like a little bit further." And she drove me out to the town in Redding at least, so that I could catch there's actually I hired a taxi, like not a taxi, but there's a guy that would take you from Redding to Eureka. And so I got back that way. Gave that lady $300. She was stoked. Her parrot was a fucking dick. It fucking bit me a couple times on the ride. And she's just like, "Oh, that's just how he is, like he's." Then a couple weeks later, I rounded up more pounds. I found a smarter Asian guy. We took a different road out to the same place. And so I made the money. And there was a silver lining at the end of it. What we did was we hired a guy. He was a country boy from Oklahoma. And he had a trailer that had a custom designed welded bottom that held 90 pounds in it if you fit them a certain way. And then the boards went right over it, and you put a car on it, on the car trailer, and it totally looked, you couldn't tell there was a custom box built inside of it. And yeah, that went off easy. That was good money. So the guy, the one that got pulled over, he only did 4 months and some fines and probation. He probably snitched and everything, but I don't know. Yeah, it was a good time. Sometimes you gotta, try again.